Hello everyone and welcome back to HORRORific Games. Welcome to Derek and Adam. Welcome back, fellas. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. So here we are again for another edition of Call of Cthulhu. And Chris is in the chat. Welcome.
Hey, Chris.
And nice and early. That's cool. Probably hopefully get a few people. Obviously, bear in mind, chat, when we get involved in the game, can't answer your comments, etc. So maybe try and say hello during our breaks and all that good stuff. But just a wee bit of understanding would be greatly appreciated. So this is now the third session for the haunting, which
the one shot.
the one shot, the one shot game, which we have spun out of control and brought all sorts of madness to, which is part of the fun. Let's be honest. That's the best type. What would be worse is if we're sitting here struggling to get through it, or like, okay, right. And that's the beauty of this type of game. It's not paint by numbers. It's the whole point of theater of the mind, that not so much even the keeper or the DM or the GM, whatever system you play, but it's the characters that lead the game as much as the runner of the game does, and that's the beauty of it. New ideas can come in that you haven't thought about, little tangents, and we just go with it. And the whole point is to have a bit of fun and a laugh and drive people insane, of course.
Us.
Even never mind in character, just
I'm pulling my hair out.
I did that already years ago. So I'll just recap briefly before we begin with this session. Bear with me a second. So, Ian O'Malley's Investigation is a long-standing reputable PI's firm in 1920s Boston. Two recent members of the team are Gerald Helsad, an entrepreneur and artist joined in to investigate in the hopes of peeping behind the curtain to witness the operation of secret societies and groups. His partner, Rob Horton, is a former Navy medic who, having served on attachment to HMS Malaya, encountered a strange dark entity during the Battle of Jutland. Having been at the firm for a couple of years now and proven themselves to be competent investigators, Ian O'Malley is confident that soon he'll be able to retire, ensuring the legacy of his firm continues. All Gerald and Rob need is to land a large job with a decent returns and prove themselves as viable partners. Enter Mr. Knott, a local real estate tycoon. While primarily dealing in commercial property and having made his fortune that way, he decided to try and kickstart an affordable home renting scheme and give back to the city that has treated him so well. His first venture into this area has proved to be problematic. His very first tenants, the Macario family, find themselves being driven insane by an entity with hateful burning eyes. Vittorio had to be committed to Roxburgh Asylum, with his wife Gabriella voluntarily checking in just over a month later, their children having to be fostered by relatives. Mr. Knott asked tripped over my own tongue there. Mr. Knott tasked the investigators with getting to the bottom of this mystery, as it is the unfortunate events are preventing him from selling or renting out the house and may, in the long run, damage his reputation. Setting out, Gerald and Rob split up to cover more ground. Rob visiting the Hall of Records and Gerald the Central Library. Rob encounters a reporter taking a vested interest in his investigation after discovering that the Reverend Michael Thomas of the Chapel of Contemplation. Gerald uncovers a secret society behind the church, who have been landlords of both the chapel and the Corbett House, a clerical error allowing the sale of the property in question. The investigators decide to go to the Corbett House, the intent to unravel the mystery before them. They discover the living room is full of crosses and Catholic iconography. Pretty quickly, they feel an unwelcome presence at the house. On investigating the upper floor, Rob finds himself trapped in the spare bedroom before having a bed slam into him and throwing him out of the window. Drought races to help his partner. Battered, bruised, and a little terrified, the pair wander into the neighbourhood cigar store run by Mr. Dooley, a man who doesn't like to gossip. From him, they get the details of Macario's demise, including the fact that a local priest from St. Augustine's Chapel visited him at the property on quite a number of occasions. The next morning, Gerald and Rob visit the Macarios at Roxbury Asylum. Gabriella, whilst appearing outwardly calm, is still traumatized by the events, citing a presence with burning red eyes as her tormentor. Vittorio is a broken shell of a man, only capable of repeating the same phrase. By his own weapon is the devil worsted. A little shaken from the encounter, and still trying to wrap their heads around the mystery before them, the investigators wait for a new day to carry out their search for answers. And with that, we find our two investigators back at O'Malley's in the office, trying to decide their next step.
Well, Rob, what do you think? We have the priest we could investigate. We could go to the remains of the church, perhaps find some information about the society there, or we could always head to that news agency that was asking at the Hall of Records as well.
Well, I agree that we should probably go check out the church. I'd like to see the grounds. I was wondering maybe we'll feel that same kind of eerie feeling that we felt at the house. And then the other thing is I was wondering about the priest. Yeah, I think the priest is the next person we should probably check with.
Well, gentlemen, I would urge a bit of caution. You know what Boston's like with the Catholic Church. You don't want to go upsetting priests now, so tread carefully there.
I think we're young enough to fly under their radar. We're old
Radar?
enough.
Radar? What's this radar that you speak of?
Yeah. It's a new top secret.
Didn't come out till World War II.
Technology.
Are you reading those pamphlets again?
Yeah. Well, I do suspect that the priest at least knows a little bit about the family. I mean, he was called in and conferred with them before they were all committed in their own ways. As long as we're not asking about the child, we should do well and perhaps, do a little Lightfoot dancing around the subject. He could actually give us some information we might need.
Yeah, of course, fellas. So far, you have done well. I'm actually quite impressed. That's obviously your first major job. I've left you to it, and you haven't had to come back to me once. So, of course, I trust your judgment at this stage. Like I said, just you know what Boston's like, this wonderful city of ours. Be respectful and just be wary. You know how the church likes to be secretive about certain aspects or things that they get up to. So as long as you're not coming across as trying to tarnish the reputation of the church, I think you should be fine.
Very well. I say we head out.
All right, let's go.
Right.
So I guess
as you go past, Jess waves at you, goes, "Good luck, fellas."
Just wink at her.
She brushes it off. She's. You've done it 100 times by now.
Yeah.
Hello, Mrs. Moneypenny. We've been thinking about you lately.
Right then, so you're heading to the church.
Yeah, why not?
So, not a massively large church in the neighborhood. It's on its own ground, so it has a small courtyard around it. Not anything extravagant, but still, it's one of the original buildings. It's made out of stone, usual sort of carvings and all that good stuff. Small gate, short entryway into the actual entrance of the church, which, of course, doors open for people who want to go in and carry out contemplation and silent prayer. So I think you're just going straight up into the main church itself. You're not going to try and go into the vestibule or back door or anything.
No, I usually wait for the third date for the back door. That's just me.
Yeah. That's if your date waits in return. Does this smell like chloroform to you?
Kind of like a vampire. Got to be invited first.
Yeah.
Generally, because no, that's
Oh my god.
That's how you know things are going wrong in the bedroom. No,
Neighbors are hearing it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, of course. We're just gonna in the main building and see if there's any attendance.
So it's early morning, reasonably. So not too many people about. There's one or two elderly folks like in various pews. There's a few candles lit. Sort of confessional thing where they tell all their dirty stuffs. Curtains are open, so nobody's in there. And that's it. You see one of the sort of altar boys going about taking care of the place. There's a nun sort of floating around.
Really? So I'm going to approach if I can like sort of flag down the nun. Pardon me, miss.
Yes. Yes, good sir. Hi.
Is the father here?
Yes, Father Riley. He's in his office. Do you need to speak to him?
It would be wonderful if we could, yes.
Oh, certainly. Just hang on 1 second. I'll go and fetch him.
Thank you. I'll lean over.
So,
Rob, what do you call nuns? Is it ma'am? Is it mother?
I think it's sister.
Sister?
I believe.
Okay. There's something about those habits that just turn me on. It's not like I can't control myself. It's just
you start putting bromide in your tea, big lad.
I'm wondering what's underneath.
You do remember that they are basically the brides of Christ, right?
Way to kill the
so a few moments pass. That's sort of coming up about the 60s. Not terribly old, but getting on a bit in years. Sort of grey hair, well kept, and his cassock and so forth. Just not nothing striking about him. He's just you'd pass him in the street, or if you picture a priest, that's what you see. You don't really see much. He's sort of brown eyes. He was gentlemen. Sister Michael said you were looking to speak to me. How may I help?
Are you Reverend Michael Thomas? Oh wait, no, I'm sorry, I'm missing.
Sorry, Reverend. No, I'm Father Riley. I'm priest of this establishment.
Trying to find my damn notes.
You're mixing up with the one trying to find out about.
Can you find the note? I'm like having a hard time finding this note.
I'm looking for the note of the.
It's Father Riley. Reverend Michael Thomas is the Reverend at the Church of Contemplation, Chapel of Contemplation.
Trying to find there was like a note with the family name and the Reverend.
Sorry, I'll help you. Macarios.
Right. Father, please excuse me. We wanted to ask you about the Corbett house and the Macarios who used to live there.
You see, kind of taking it back a bit and sort of sad look goes over his face. He's like, that place. I didn't think you reporters were interested. Once the news broke, it kind of fell off. Do you really want to torment the family further?
Oh, we're not going to bother them at all. We're curious about the property and the type of engagement you had with the family while you were there. You see, we've been hired by Mr. Knott, who owns the property and was leasing it out to the family.
He's sort of concerned, looking at his face. He's a bit edgy. He's obviously doesn't want to talk about it. He's like, I'm sure you can appreciate that confidentiality between a priest and his parishioners is utmost. Can't divulge any personal information.
We're not looking for personal so much as environmental. You see, he's looking to rent the home out again at some point, and we're hoping that you have some sort of information we could discern on whether or not that's a good idea.
He no. I wouldn't. Are you a spiritual man? I didn't catch your names and where you're from.
My name is Gerald Hurlstad.
I'm Rob Horton.
And yes, we believe in God.
Well, I'm sure you can understand that the devil works in many devious ways to take us from his light. And that house, he kind of shakes his hand. The devil has definitely touched that house. I would be worried for anybody who would set foot in there.
I look over at Gerald and go, we set foot in there, and we can agree with you.
I pray for your souls, gentlemen. What did you encounter?
A window falling a floor.
The ground fastly, quickly
Yes.
is what I encountered.
Okay. Game face. Oh, my dear Lord. Are you okay?
Yes, although I believe I might have maybe caused some head trauma, but because I started having visions as well and hearing voices, but I don't think I'm the only one that heard the voices.
You've stirred something in him, but he's reluctant to come forth with it. Give me a persuade roll, please.
Persuade. Let's see.
Tell us all you
You can
know.
use your. Yeah, no. Try the other method, Derek.
With sugar instead of spice.
You will tell me what. Just is that when like Manny faces you?
Yeah.
Rawr.
It's like, oh, sorry, that was the wrong face.
Let's try one of the other. Wrong button.
I'm trying something new. All right, did it work? I just used my cell phone to make the roll, so I just thought it would be interesting to see how that worked.
What happened?
Didn't see it on.
Oh, it's in D20.
Yeah, it rolls it into roll 20.
Oh, right. 37. Gotcha.
Wait, how did you do that?
Oh yeah, I got an app for Roll20 that lets you pull up your character sheet, so you can have your character sheet separate from your computer, and you can roll dice from it. So,
wow.
I was just playing with it to see if it worked.
Right. I don't need to lose your character sheet. What's your?
My character sheet? I have a 10 in persuasion.
Oh God, that's you. You start getting triggered by your previous encounters, and you just start getting angry, and you start to blame him.
You know, why didn't you exorcise the house? Why didn't you do something to prevent that evil spirit or demon or whatever is in there from harassing those people?
Good sir, I am a man of the Lord. Do you not think I would not have tried? That is my purpose here, my function. How dare you? How very much dare you, sir?
Then why is the house still standing?
Rob, please calm down. We need to not turn against each other here. You must understand that he has gone through some significant trauma. You have been dealing with the family, and you've been at the house. Certainly, there's something.
Give us a wee roll there as well, Adam. Let's see how this works out.
Come on, roll low.
Rob's essentially slapped the priest in the face verbally. What the hell was that?
That was an 83.
When you kick him, right? So basically, Rob slapped the priest when you're kicking him in the squat at the same time. So you just start randomly. In fact, your hip flask falls out of your. As you lean forward, your hip flask falls out onto the floor. And you start to
holy water
mock the priest for his previous experience.
I don't like dice. Let's just role play it. It's not working out well.
That's what we're doing. So you start
certainly, sir. You must have understood.
When Rob gets angry, you start taunting him.
Yeah. I'm sure you did your best, but quite frankly, your best isn't good enough. I wonder if your sister nun could have done a better job. Perhaps we should be talking to her.
You will hold your tongue. How very much dare you? Sister Michael is a dedicated member of this church and a servant of God. What is wrong with you people? What on earth is? And he just goes red, and he's flustered, and he starts pulling at his collar, and actually he's about to lose his cool. He's just never encountered such rudeness and anger out of the blue. That
has the archdiocese been informed about this house and the devil that's inside of it?
Church business is absolutely none of yours. I very much dare you to try and. I have no words. I have no words at all for this utter disrespect in the house of the Lord God himself. What is wrong with you?
We're just trying to get to the bottom of this. This is clearly a serious situation where lives are at risk. Isn't that important to you?
Also, do you know, you need to pray. You need to pray. You need to get on your knees right now and pray to God for forgiveness for your... insincerity and your tact. I hope you haven't went anywhere near that poor family. They have suffered enough.
No,
Have
we
you?
would never imagine to do that. No, that's crossing a line. Never want to do that. Clearly.
You can
What do you
push the
take us
roll
for?
if you want. You can push the roll, but I will warn you: if you fail a second time, like it's just gonna go.
Dude, I only have a 10. There's no way I'm going to push that roll. There's no way. I'll just take the blatant insulting.
Give me how's your fast talking?
That's a good question. Where is fast talk?
I'm a
There's so many
fast
skills.
talking-
I don't know where to.
It's it's
Oh my gosh, that's worse.
I got a 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe not, because you'll end up
It turns into jive talking.
I'll push the roll. I'm going to push the roll. What's the worst he does? Punch me in the face?
That would be
Oh
awesome.
man.
you practically spit in the man's face. Oh my! What did he do to offend you? Are you
Just trying.
Are you Protestants?
So what if we are? Certainly, at least they understand the right rules
Get
of our
out!
God.
Get out of this! Get out of this house of God, this holy place right now!
I wouldn't
How
stay
dare
here if
you
I was an
taint the
altar boy
place
and you
with
were
your
offering me
presence.
wine. Then turn around and just stomp off.
Go to some filthy separatist house of ungodliness and whatever they do. You go to one of them people.
I'm going to dip my hand in the holy water on the way out and run it through my hair.
Oh dear!
Just
Well,
as like an exclamation
I
mark.
hope you aren't planning to pick up any holy relics from this church anyway.
Well, apparently they're not
Even
holy enough
do you know
because
what?
they can't
Even
banish the
Sister
spirit.
Michael is
Yeah,
just
yeah.
looking at you aghast as you walk out. She's just standing, shaking her head at you, going,
Gerald, are you sure you don't want to say something to the nun before we leave?
No, I actually do, but I won't. I can edit myself when necessary.
"Hey, baby,"
Yeah.
sidle up there. In fact, you leave your flask behind, still on the floor. You didn't even pick it up as you went out. That's
Oh, I did. I was like,
no.
bent down for it.
Sorry, not with them dice rolls. You didn't.
Oh, okay.
Oh, man, that's living evidence. It's like dropping like a Coke on the ground right there.
They're not gonna have DNA evidence of that. They don't even know what
No.
DNA is.
That's
No,
Certainly
they
not
have
the church
witnesses.
Yeah.
so. Needless to
All
say,
those poor people.
that
I
encounter
could've
didn't
skinned
go too well. Maybe
It's not our fault though. That was pure dice rolls. That was out of our hands.
yeah.
I think the insanity has already picked up
man.
on our characters a little bit.
I think
so.
you're right. That's definitely it. It's Cthulhu.
You might
It's not
need
us.
to pick me up at Fat Sam's or something. No way to get over that. That's
That was brutal. All right. So clearly that could have gone better. Not entirely sure what went wrong. We went in with the best of intentions and then suddenly just went south quickly.
I didn't feel like myself. I feel like something's wrong.
I think perhaps the house is lingering, the effects. There's something dark that has stained us in some way. Our essence, our being, perhaps. But whatever it is, I do not want to linger much longer. We need to get to the bottom of this and get as much information as we can to Mr. Knott and get out of it.
Yes, but do you think we should also maybe look into a spiritualist, someone who understands the other world a little more? Maybe they could help us protect ourselves in some way, because the
I think
church
that's-
apparently isn't working.
Correct. I mean, the mother did mention that the only place they could sleep was in the bottom front room with all the crucifixes and religious iconography, correct? So perhaps it is working. It's just in that one area. Perhaps if we... It sounds a little Bram Stoker, but perhaps we grab a cross and use it to navigate the home.
after your performance and probably burn your hands.
Are you a Protestant? I think it's the worst possible thing.
Oh my gosh.
Oh dear.
Hmm.
I mean, the other thing.
So your options are obviously you need to find out more about the house and what exactly like if it wasn't for a slip up
Mhm.
by a clerk, this house would never have been sold.
Mhm.
It would have still been part of the Contemplation Society.
Mhm.
You
But
need
we
to.
haven't-
Was the
Maybe we should ask
church
Mr.
part?
Knott.
Yeah.
Maybe we should ask Mr. Knott if he has insurance on the home.
Mm.
And maybe it wouldn't be the worst thing if the place went up in flames.
Perhaps that's a last-ditch effort.
You have to understand as well, Mr. Knott, he's concerned about his reputation. It's not money.
Hmm.
And this was supposed to be the start of his, not entrepreneurial, God, I forget the
Oh,
word.
I remember.
But he wants to give back to the community. So the
Yeah.
whole point of this was to create affordable homes for working families.
Mhm.
Because there's some rumbling in the air that financially, they're sort of heading into a recession, but there's rumblings that this could be far worse, especially after the First World War, that the blowback from that hasn't quite finished, and things could get very hard as well. And him feeling slightly guilty about his wealth he's amassed, he wants to try and do something. So to make this into, how to say, just about financial gain or insurance scams, you would actually offend them.
Mhm. I can understand that.
Well, how about Mr. Corbett? We haven't actually exhausted that lady yet. He's the one that built the house, right? So maybe there's something about Mr. Corbett's history that maybe goes into that house because he fell ill and died shortly after building it.
Right, and he wanted to
Yep.
actually be buried in the foundation as well. We just said.
Yeah, and you didn't really find out much about the court proceedings, how that went, because that was
I mean, we can certainly return to
1912.
the library and see if there's any public transcripts available. I would still enjoy visiting the remains of the Church of the Contemplation Society. Check those grounds out, see if there's anything we can learn there.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very strange that it's still active in the directory, that the Contemplation Society still exists and exists to an extent that it's still in the directory at that address. Yet the church is supposed to have been burned down and abandoned like many years previous.
Mhm. What would you rather do first? Would you rather return to the library or public records, or go visit the ruins of the church?
Why don't we
Sure
check the
thing.
ruins of
You-
the church first? Well,
Yeah.
Actually, real quick, where in the direction that we're going, is the church on the way to the library, or is the library on the way to the church? That should answer our question.
The library and Hall of Records is more sort of central. This church is close to the neighborhood, just like a tram journey away from the neighborhood itself, because it was kind of the local chapel. Obviously, and the family moved there, still kept connections. They didn't move too far from where they were living previously.
The Corbett, you mean?
Yeah.
Hmm.
But nobody knows
Well,
what that
that
means.
answers
Every
it,
time you
right?
mention the Corbett House, nobody understands. It's
All right. Well, let's go check out the ruins of that building. See if we can find any like underground entrances, or just anything really.
Or people lingering, watching the site.
Yeah, lingers. Any
Doo-doo-doo.
newspapers watching us?
Or little girls dressed in
no,
red
that's only
hooded
at
jackets.
Mario's.
Any creepy twins?
When you mentioned the mob.
Yeah, yeah.
We see a balloon floating by.
Run. Hey, quick, real story. I was up hiking in the middle of nowhere and I saw this crazy red balloon just floating in the middle of the trees up on a hill that would not have been easy to get to. So just scary as shit being alone in the woods and seeing a red balloon.
That's a lot
well,
of
if you
work
s-
for a wind-up.
I mean, whatever it was, I was just like,
No,
I'm not stopping there. I'm moving on.
Did you see any
I'm more
clowns?
impressed that somebody's, if it's a helium balloon, that they've actually carried it, tied to their rucksack, and made that journey just to tie it to a tree. That's
I mean, it
impressive.
probably just drifted from some birthday party, like way far away or something, but still super creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's go check out that church.
All right, then. So,
Ruins.
obviously, it's in the neighborhood. You pass by Dooley's on the way to it. It's only a block away. So you remember that. So what's left of the old church stands at the end of a crooked, dingy street. The ruins are so weathered and overgrown with greenery that the grey stone rubble seems more like natural stone than former walls and foundation. You pass a slumping wall bearing a white painted symbols, apparently freshly swabbed. 3 Ys arranged in a triangle, so the top elements of each Y touch the other 2 Ys. In the center, sort of created, is painted a staring eye.
Creepy.
Oh God, I've lost my.
So, is there something we can roll to see if we know what that is, what that represents?
It'd be Cthulhu mythos.
Oh, I don't have anything on it.
Which
Let me see. Cthulhu Mythos. I have a 10, so I have a chance.
Do you have any idea what that is, Rob?
I'm taking a look. Let's see.
It certainly looks fresh. This must be the
I got a
contemplation.
26, but I only have a 10, so I failed.
so you have no clue whatsoever. It's it could be any symbol really. You have no idea.
Okay, so I'm going to make a note of that in my little notebook, sort of redraw it, just to make sure I have it on reference there. And I'm going to continue searching the grounds.
Obviously, it's a bit strange that this is freshly painted. Everything else is just left the ruin, so there must be somewhere active.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are you doing?
I mean, if it's freshly painted, this sounds kind of crazy for me to do, but I want to start like pressing bricks around, wherever the wall this is painted on. You said
so,
it was
yeah, it's just as you come in to the actual, it's just a slumping wall, but you're seeing these symbols and they're all round.
okay, so there's a bunch of them then.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all this one, just multiple versions?
Yeah, and just variations of the type.
Does it? Wait, what do you mean variations?
So there might be that, and some with maybe a sun symbol behind them or a moon symbol. Some where the Ys are slightly pulled apart, but it's generally this image or variants of it, and the Ys are more or less in the same position.
Right.
So it might be slightly crooked.
Is there any kind of feeling here? Does it just feel kind of like, There's not like
strangely nothing. It's just abandoned, but it's very strange that. And towards the center of the courtyard, you see, like everything's overgrown grass, but strangely enough, it's all like kept towards through it. It's almost like there's a path or multiple paths weaving through it. So there's people been here. It's just very strange.
Can we track the footprints through the?
Yeah, you can go through if you want.
Yeah, I want to do that. See if I can find some sort of like source where they come from.
What are you doing, Rob? What's Rob doing?
I'm scanning the area around me, trying to see if I can see anything that looks out of place around the outside of the perimeter. Looking for buildings or anything that might have symbols or something like that that matches this eye symbol off in the distance that's not in the church grounds. But looking for anything odd, basically, just around the area, just scanning it.
Right. You start to feel a tingle, sort of headaches, as you're sort of going around. The closer you get to the actual physical features of the walls and the ground, you feel this kind of tingling sensation. Adam, give me a luck roll, please.
A luck roll. I'm not sure where to find my luck. Roll the D100. Where is luck?
It's on the top. It's one of the.
Always.
It's in the green section.
God, 55. I rolled a 26. No, that was you. Wait, what did I roll? Didn't I just roll one?
Yeah, you rolled 27.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, so I have a 55 and I rolled a 27.
Right, cool. As you walk, the ground just starts rumbling and gives away beneath you. You step on something rotten.
Rob!
Just
Do I fall down?
But as you fall, you just notice a bit of an outcrop, and you manage to grab onto it as the ground gives away beneath you.
Rob, help me!
I run over and help him. What did you do?
I just stepped on the ground and it fell on. I'm like looking down. What are we seeing?
You see a basement. Strangely, it's well kept.
I think we found our society.
How
How far below me is it?
By 10 feet.
Okay. Can you try to lower me down as close to the ground as possible?
I basically reach down, grab a hold of his hand, and just try to lay down as close as I can, and kind of slowly, reach him down at least a few feet.
Do you moisturize? Your hands are incredibly soft.
Oh, well, yes, it's my daily regiment of. Oh wait, that's not important right now.
Sorry.
So as you look lovingly into each other's eyes as it lowers, the point of trust and love.
Yeah, no. So I mean, I'm gonna try to just get lower down as much as possible, and then just sort of drop the rest of the way. Is there any light down here? Any other?
Just basically what's coming from above. And it's daylight as well, so there's plenty of light coming through. You kind of see it's wooden slats above. So there's been a roof put in, a wooden roof. But because the way the ground is overgrown, it looks as if you've just walked across a courtyard, an open one. But now you're starting to realize that this was the interior of the church. So this is actually a basement. So that would have been the main church above where you are. So light sort of goes. Now that you're looking up, you can kind of almost see like cracks of light from the top, so enough to sort of see by. I'm sure you've brought handheld illumination devices because being experienced.
Oh yes, and I brought a whole box of actual extra light bulbs just in case. I wrapped them in wax paper.
You have a whole bandolier across your chest of light bulbs.
Yeah, man.
Oh, it's okay. I got another one.
Yeah, I'll pull out my flashlight, turn it on, smack it a little bit, like just sort of look around. In my other hand, I'm going to pull out my pistol just to make sure nothing crazy is going on.
So you fall into part of the basement that was sealed off from the rest of the church, originally reached by separate stairs, which are now buried under tons of rubble. Within this room, next to a cabinet, are two skeletons dressed in tattered silk robes. Perhaps they'd hid from the police and perished in the fire during the raid. You could make that assumption. So they look as if they were members of the church.
Is the wall scorched down here?
No, surprisingly so. So the fire must have engulfed upstairs. They probably died of smoke inhalation.
Rob, can you try to hold the ledge and drop down, and I'll try to catch you the rest of the way to come down here and join me?
Give me a dexterity roll.
That's a good point. You can't climb these skeletons.
Yeah, no, the stairs that led into the basement is buried under the rubble. So when the church burned and collapsed, what would have been a trap door leading up, the only reason you found it is because the wood is rotten.
There's houses around us, right? There's
no,
houses
it's
around us.
Industrialized neighborhood now. The only residential property in the entire neighborhood is the Corbett house. Everything else has been industrialized. But for some reason,
these two
plots, there's buildings around you, yeah.
Okay.
But
so what I'm looking for is there rope or some ladder somewhere that I could that maybe like someone's using in the area, or it's a building that has a lot of people working that I might be able to, because I want to make sure we have a way of getting out of the hole before I jump down there and then both of us are stuck in there.
All right, so you're gonna go across to maybe a warehouse or something and leave Adam on his own.
What about the vines? Aren't there the remaining walls covered with foliage or anything?
Yeah, there's overgrown. Everything's overgrown. So you've got creepers and vines. If you've got time to maybe
bring that down,
fashion something.
Okay,
but you can go and ask. I take it, Adam, you're just going to stay.
I'm not moving until I figure out what he's going to do.
Right.
So my question is,
you can go across. There's warehouses and there's various places. So yeah, you can go across and ask.
But are the vines? Do they look like they're sturdy enough? If I could fashion something to make a rope,
you could do. It take you about take you a minute to you'd have to braid a couple of pieces together to make some sort of rope. On their own, you need a handful. Like an individual one wouldn't do the job.
Okay, what kind of roll do I need to make to see how successful I can do that? I just yelled down the hole. Let me make sure I have a way of getting us back out before I jump down. Give me a moment.
All right, there's skeletons down here. Live skeleton. I mean, they're not live. They were once live, but now they're dead. They're skeletons, but they're real skeletons. And I'm a little freaked out.
I understand, but it's not going to do us anything good if I go down there.
Cold air just blows and like settles on the nape of your neck.
I'm like back and forth with the light, trying to see like.
Great,
I'm
you're
pretty
going to
sure
be
there's
scared of
something
the
down
dark
here with
from
me.
now on.
No more houses.
Obviously, there's
more
no
skeletons.
It would kind of come under mechanical repair, wouldn't it? Oh, I suppose that's more machine building.
Is that like a crafting skill?
It'd be
or something?
dexterity.
Okay. Dexterity.
I'll give you dexterity. Yeah, use dexterity because in the end, all you're doing is braiding some pieces together. So everyone knows how to do a braid with like bits of string. So
I got a 52, and I have a 60 dexterity.
Ooh, there you go. So yeah, you kind of hurt your hands a bit as you're trying to pull these bits up. They're well rooted. Pull them off like the walls, but you manage to select, say, about 5 bits, and you start braiding away, and you get something serviceable. It's not great, but at a push, one at a time, could climb up it.
Okay, and can I fasten it to something or connect it to something? So it's not...
Give me a spot hidden.
Spot hidden.
I mean, one side would be all rooted, right? Like it's all a growing.
Yeah,
vine.
but they're not in the courtyard. But the bit you walked through was obviously open because you were basically walking through the inside of the church, and you fell through one of the rotten floorboards into the basement.
Okay.
So the walls are, quite a distance away. It's a substantial church. In its heyday, it would have actually been quite impressive, especially for the time.
I got a 9 with a 60 spot hidden.
That's
a
dream.
Dun.
Hell yeah, dude.
So you start what do you call it? Sections. So you start doing the dancing and stuff. You make it into a lasso, and you're just like skipping and you're watching him doing this, showing off.
And then I'm like rappelling down the wall.
You just like, and you just jump off the side and you swing. You're like Spider-Man.
I'm running face down, holding onto the rope.
Yeah, you're forward rappelling. Just
kidding.
I have to say, I'm amazed. You're amazing. This is genuinely amazing.
Thank you.
I know. I mean, now that we're down there and the rope is, you tied it off to something strong, right? That's not going to come flittering down behind you.
Oh, that thing's not moving for love nor money.
Okay, I'm going to show him the skeleton.
If only you had half of that success in the church.
Right. Yeah, that would be a nice option.
Yeah.
But I want to investigate this area now. Like, are there any, I don't know, containers, wardrobes, desks?
So you see the cabinet, and obviously it was a functional basement, but there's rocks, like if all cascaded down through, and it's actually the vines and stuff have grown over, because you can now, because of the daylight, you can see the sort of patchwork, and it could have been not this area, but it could be another one. That things just holding by a thread. You can navigate through it. That's where you saw this sort of footprints, because people have obviously learned, who have traversed this quite a bit, how to avoid the weak spots.
Mm-hmm. So looking down, is there like a layer of dust? Can we see footprints in the floor?
No. This place has been left. Nobody's felt the reason or any reason to go down there. Had skeletons, obviously people look after their own in an organization, so they wouldn't have left them there.
So you said that the 2 skeletons were dressed in silk. Are there any rings that have fallen off of their hands from decaying? Is there any sort of artifacts around them?
Yeah, they look as if they're you see a ring on each of their fingers, and they both have that. They're made of gold, and they have that symbol inscribed.
Oh, I'm grabbing one. 100%, yeah.
Yeah. They're wearing the thing's all tattered and, but you can tell they were wearing like some sort of vestibule robe. Definitely for church or ritual or something. It's the thread away. There's no prayer beads or anything. It doesn't seem to be that type of outfit.
Okay. So does it look like there's any fire damage to them? They weren't burned alive apparently.
No. What it looks like, they managed to get below, but it was the smoke got them.
Mm. Yeah, the smoke inhalation.
Yeah, so they've died of smoke inhalation.
And the police never found, or fire department never found a way down here.
Nobody's found this until you fell through it.
Yeah.
And people have been worried about anybody that's been traversing this. people tend to stay away. That sort of, as you got closer, you got that kind of niggling headache. That's been enough to keep people, like the general public, away. Nobody's really had any interest.
Do we see anything on the walls that maybe survived the fire? Any books, bookshelves, safes, lock boxes, anything like that?
Well, give me a spot hidden.
I'm going to be searching as well.
You can both give separate ones, and obviously you're both searching. So
41 out of a 60.
12 out of 50.
All right. Yeah, so you're starting to see, as you pick your way through, you can see cabinets and that, and you see this old set of drawers where the legs have obviously collapsed. So you can kind of brush that away, and you see a drawer that you can pull out.
Is there a walkie-talkie in there?
Let's see, who got the better one? Adam got the better roll, so you find that. Rob is starting to say, brush away the thing. You see more of these symbols, and you kind of see them in strange, like it's the same symbol, but they're in configurations, almost like a form of hieroglyph. So maybe there's a code to it or something.
I'm going to write down in my notebook exactly what I'm seeing.
Yep.
Like transcribe it.
Okay, so you find this journal.
Oh, well, I'll just take the journal then.
It's a musty old journal, and it starts to fall to pieces as you turn the pages. But the name Walter Corbett catches your eye. An entry records that Walter Corbett was buried in the basement of his house in accordance with his wishes and with the wishes of the one who waits in the dark.
Rob, you've got to see this.
Alongside the journal is an enormous volume. You kind of, that slips out the back as you pull the journal. It's handwritten in Latin, but it's so rotten and worm-eaten that the whole sections can no longer be understood.
Okay, I walk over.
Do any of you read Latin by any chance?
Let's.
Well, here's the thing. No. No, I don't.
Where's linguistics at on here? Listen, locksmith.
Yeah, I don't see.
Yeah, does my locksmith work for it? No, just
Try.
I don't even see linguistics as a thing on here.
No.
It's a weird one. Somebody pick, say you can pick a few skills associated with your trade. So if somebody randomly put it down,
I didn't.
You can have
I
extra.
wouldn't have known to do that.
Let's have a look at these character sheets. There is languages, I believe.
I just don't see it. Where is it at?
It's not on the Roll20 sheet.
Not in this. It's probably on the main printout one. It's a bit more.
Yeah, that's weird that they wouldn't mimic that.
Let's see. Maybe it's on the tab. No, the tab's just.
This is where we'll have to do like a combination. These systems are great, but nothing beats a good old physical copy sometimes.
Mm-hmm. I'm opening mine right now. So there is languages on the normal one.
Yep, fast talk. Little library listen.
Hey, can I fast talk to the paper?
A voice appears, goes back at you.
Yeah, I don't have it on my character sheet. So if I don't have it on this one, I won't have it.
Use your just in case there's a phrase or something. Use your intelligence.
Sure.
Intelligence roll. We'll give that a bash.
I got a 43, but I have a 40 intelligence.
So my intelligence is 60. My education is 80. I rolled a 22, if that helps.
Oh, right. Okay. So this is a copy of the Liber of Anus. Cursory look at the book, show it's in Latin and deals with matters of an occult nature. An initial reading of this book requires read Latin skill of 50% or more. Or a successful read Latin roll. So if you put that down, it'll take a minimum of 3 hours for either yourselves or if you find someone that reads Latin to do this.
And we can take it with us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But the larger books, it's bits. The
Gotcha.
journal that you have,
Yeah.
that's still legible, but the large tome, you can take it with you, but it's falling apart even as you like the cover, the leather cover's just about holding this thing together. The larger book.
Well, I mean, is there anything else we can discern from the larger book other than it was Corbett's deciding to, be interred here from his master's desire?
So it looks like he's taken notes from that book.
Okay, I'm confused. So the big book that I'm
The
holding
big book
is Corbett's
No,
translation.
you find his journal first of all, and then you see this larger book.
Okay.
But it's fallen to bits.
Right.
But from being aware of, you see it inscribed on the cover, Liber Avanus, and just having a quick glance through this journal, you can see that there's been passages copied, and they're occult. They're spells, they're incantations. It's going to take you a bit of time to actually sit and read through this thing.
Right.
At a cursory glance, and because most of it's in Latin.
Is this something we can take with us?
Absolutely, you can take them both with you. Just bear in mind that the larger book's
Yeah.
delicate condition, so you might want to wrap it
Maybe
in
we need
something.
to wrap it in something. So I'll take my
Yeah.
coat off, and I'll wrap
We
my
have the
coat around
silk
it.
from the skeletons.
Oh, even better. Yeah, that's a great idea. Is
You
there
can
any
also go
pieces
back
of
to the
wood?
church and tell the priest what you did.
I'm done with that priest.
Are
sucks.
there any pieces of wood or shelving that we can use to prop the book to give it more of a sturdy thing that we're putting it on before we wrap it in the silk? Because I want to make sure
Well,
that
the cover's quite sturdy, but the pages inside of the
Gotcha.
larger book
Okay.
are, if you open this book and try and it's going to blow away in the wind.
Gotcha. So we're going to make sure we wrap it up so we don't make it disturb the pages at all, and we want to do anything we can to make sure that it will not fall apart when we wrap it in the silk. So.
And then also take the journal that Corbett was transcribing from.
And the gold rings.
Yes. I'm literally writing this stuff down. So.
Yeah, and that's pretty much. There's nothing really.
Oh, did I find anything with my spot check?
You were looking at these symbols, and you're starting to realize it's some sort of hieroglyph. It's definitely a code.
Okay, so
what
there's a
they've done-
language on the walls, but we just don't understand what it is.
But it's all revolving around this one symbol, which is quite unique.
Start to make me think like someone's watching us. I start hearing that song, "Hello from the other side." We're watching you.
Leave me alone.
Sting right there. I'll be watching you.
The good thing about it being daylight, obviously, is you're not gonna. You get a chance to see anybody coming. You know what I mean?
So we don't see any other doors or pantry?
No, because the whole thing's there's one set of stairs, and you can kind of see the way the rubble's fallen. That's where it was. You can see some of the earth. Part of that wall around it collapsed. It seems to be around the stairs that once were the stairs, where most of the damage. And you can kind of see the earth through. See, this is kind of the only bit that's dug. There's no passages or anything.
Okay. Do you think we could accurately transcribe this, Rob? So we make sure that we have this exact configuration of these hieroglyphic letters.
It'd be great if we had a camera. It'd be something that we could actually easily make sure we can. Hey, I got the bulbs for it. Yeah, well, I don't know how good I am at drawing, but I'll try to draw the actual script out so that I can actually.
So the symbols are quite they're quite simple. It's not overly complicated. It just seems to be this, and there's slight configuration. So one might be sorry, I have no examples here, obviously, with this.
It's okay.
But they might be pulled out slightly. The Y's might be turned like slightly to the left, but it all still remains within that sort of area.
Mm-hmm.
So you might have the two bottom Y still in the same place, and the top Y pulled out, or that back end and the left one pulled out.
Mm-hmm.
But there's definitely a pattern. There's definitely a reason for it.
So I'm writing them down. I'm just drawing them on my notebook. Like here's wall number, north-facing wall. These are the symbols on the wall and the configuration. Then page number 2, this is the eastern-facing wall. This is the pit configuration. And so I basically am just going to write them all down. even though I think they might be like not completely useful, but at this point I don't know what's going to be useful in this crazy situation. So I'm making sure that every wall I have a page for it, and every page is basically like, has at least everything I can see as
with your
accurately as
$20 a
possible.
day, if you felt the need later on in the adventure, you could probably pick up. That's about the most probably
For
handheld
$20,
or the likes
I
of that
better
one.
own that thing. You know how much money that was back then?
Yeah, yeah, but that's probably the closest you would get to something handheld,
Yeah, I wouldn't. I'm not
and
gonna.
that's
come
quite
back.
cumbersome to carry around.
Mhm.
Probably get.
Yeah, I'm just
broken
concerned
quite
with
easily.
capturing as much as possible this initial go around, because I think the elements and anyone else that happens across here is going to come in and mess with it. So maybe the society itself, I mean, we saw it freshly painted on the outside. So I still do think, Rob, that there is possibly some other entrances or the avenues of entry into secret spaces in this church. Otherwise, why would they go to the trouble of repainting the symbols?
You
Maybe
can
we should
obviously
start pounding on
you're
the
now
walls.
aware that the ground isn't the most safe, and this seems to be one chamber with one set of steps leading down. There's always a possibility, so you're more than welcome to search the grounds further.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if we can climb out.
Okay.
I mean, we've done everything we can in here.
I mean, right? We can't knock on the walls and see if there's a hollow spot real quick.
No, it's earth. You've actually
Okay.
seen the earth come out from the bit around the stairs, so this is one chamber. But
Gotcha.
you saw the expanse. It was quite a large expanse of courtyard, which is now courtyard, but it's the inside of the church. And this is one small room.
Okay. You first.
I'm gonna climb out. Do I have to do anything for that?
No, just
okay.
Okay, then climb out. Just do we see? And when we climb out, just because of me knowing, not my character, but just looking, take another quick look around the grounds to see if there's anything in the nearby vicinity that seems out of place. Just
what you see. Now that you're familiar, you see a few worn tread paths. So people have walked through this, but they're you notice that the paths are very distinct, and you kind of see one go past where you fell in. So people have navigated this, and they have avoided the weak spots so they don't fall down. So somebody's tested this ground, and for some reason they're coming back and forward to it, but you don't know why.
I mean, let's just follow those worn pathways and try to search for any secret entrances or see where they're going or coming from.
Yep. Okay. So give me. So while you're traversing that, give me both once again spot hidden rolls.
35 out of 50.
61 out of 60.
Right. Well, you're just you're too busy looking at these symbols and trying to look at the walls. You're not really looking at the ground or anything. You're seeing them about, and it's kind of fitting in with that code in your book, and that's what you're kind of focused on, Rob, while you're doing it. Gerald, you notice that there's a bit of a pattern. It's almost the triangle. It's almost as if they're walking that pattern into the floor. They're walking around in that sort of pattern. Now that you've got it in your head, you can almost see it. But you're not seeing any doorways or anybody stopping. It just seems to be that people walk on a certain path, and they're visiting this on a regular basis because it wouldn't be that worn down. So people are definitely visiting the place, but they're not stopping anywhere. You're not seeing any clumps or groups. You're not seeing any because you're obviously feeling. I'm guessing you're going to like parts of the wall. You're feeling around. You're looking at the ground. You're looking for trapdoors, but you're not seeing anything. So you're seeing no other way to get down below the church.
Okay.
But it's definitely been walked quite a few times, and it's definitely of significance. You just can't picture how or why.
Rob, do you want to entertain this flight of fancy of mine. I'm wondering if perhaps you could stand in the center of this walked triangle where the eye would be, and I'll just walk the perimeter, and maybe
Sure.
something.
Sure, whatever you need. I'm looking through my notes as I walk over to where right here. Is this where you want me to stand?
That would be great. Yes.
Do I
So
fall
he's
to the
just
floor?
where, yeah. If there is an eye, like that triangle, that shape.
So you want to be like in the eyeball, the iris,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the people just.
And then I want to walk the actual perimeter of what the eye triangle would be. So that's around the eye.
Right.
Worn.
Derek, give me Cthulhu Mythos roll.
Mythos.
You're gonna summon the old one.
As Adam's walking around, you go,
Manando.
all right.
Cthulhu. Ra. In
I need to
relief.
practice. I need to practice that more actually. For this.
Yeah. Just pull an Army of Darkness. It'll be all right.
Yep.
Klaatu, Verada. I said it. All right. It's done.
What's my
You
favorite?
know,
Chant? The one from was it Excalibur? The one where the charm of making. What is it that they use?
Oh,
I can't remember.
right. I
I
can't
can't
remember
remember
that
what
either.
it's. Oh
I
man.
haven't seen that in ages. Got it in the.
I love Excalibur.
Oh, yeah, but Liam Neeson was that, and
Yeah. He's great. It's Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart as well. He was Merlin. And...
I made it. I got a 10. Oh my
Oh!
god.
You just summoned Cthulhu.
You recognize this? You felt it twice now, very strongly.
Oh great.
Just by even walking this, and you feel a presence coming from that book. You feel as if it's emanating, just even by being held. And Geralt walking the perimeter, you're feeling a power here, and you're feeling it tugging at you.
Tugging at me in like what way? Is it more like
Just
it's trying
pulling you
something
towards
trying to
it.
get me to pulling me towards it? So I just
Yeah,
start
you're
walking.
being pulled to somewhere else. Give me a sanity roll.
A sanity roll.
Pulled as in to
You're
the center of the triangle?
Gerald, you were no, you're not. You're oblivious to this. You're just
Right.
walking around, seeing. You're thinking just purely physical.
So my sanity is currently, it says here on the character sheet, 50, and I scored a 12. So is that bad?
It's got to be good, right?
In this game, I'm not so sure.
I think you're. No, I think you've passed.
We're not trying
You're
to talk
investigating
about allergies, so we should be good.
No, that's cool. So you've got this uncomfortable feeling. You've felt it before, but it's not because it's daytime, and because nothing's being invoked as such, but purely the power of walking this circuit, holding that tome. Who's holding? Actually, you've got the journal. Is that right, Adam?
Yeah.
Who's got the larger volume?
The wrapped in silk one?
Yep.
I mean,
Who's
I
carrying
assumed I grabbed it, but if Derek wants it, I mean, I'm fine.
I
with it.
thought that Adam had it.
Yeah. I would have it.
You have it. All right.
No, I'll take it. I assumed he had it because I never said
Yeah.
I picked it up. So
Yeah.
that
But
was
you
my
were wrapped.
assumption.
You wrapped it in the silk,
Mhm.
but obviously went out. So I know Adam had the journal. So
Yeah, as
We
far
can
as my
roll for it.
inventory is, I
nothing,
have
nothing
them.
major is going to happen. Just
I've got them both.
right. So from who's holding it?
I have them both.
Right. So you're feeling it. You start to feel it tingling from
I feel it
the
tingling?
book between your fingers. Almost like a static electric charge. It's weird. It's starting to
I'm
build
just gonna
up,
like shake my hand and flex it a little bit.
but it's the one holding the book.
Let me just switch it over, put it in the
Yeah.
other hand.
You feel it repeating itself. The more
Hey,
you
Rob,
walk
do you
this.
do you feel anything strange? My hand is it's like the tingling of going to
Now
sleep.
you're starting to verge in terror. Although you've passed your sanity roll, you're starting to feel this presence. Almost if you're calling to it. Like you're welcoming in this thing by doing what you're doing. You're welcoming this thing, but just by fortitude and the fact that you believe you're in the right path, you've managed to stave off the absolute horror of the event and the terror. The longer this goes on, obviously, you don't know if you're going to be able to hold on.
I don't know what it is, but something about the book.
Let's put it with each circuit. Each circuit, you're going to have to do another sanity roll. Oh, that's path you're walking.
Who's walking? I'm not walking.
Each time Gerald's walking the pathless, right? So each time he gets to the start point, you have to do another sanity roll.
Okay.
You feel this thing. The more he walks this, Rob's gonna, Rob's in the center, and while Gerald is walking the circuit, something's being invoked. It's almost like a dynamo effect. The more he walks, especially with that book. So each time you go around, because you're walking the path, so each time you get to the starting point, so let's make it that it's the entrance to the church is the starting point.
Okay.
So as you're going around, each time you hit that, Rob's going to need to make a sanity roll, and that tingling sensation is going to increase.
How many total revolutions has he done?
So he's done about 3 so far.
And
that's what you have to do your first sanity roll, but it's going to get worse.
Stop walking.
All right.
Something you're doing is causing something to happen. I feel a pull to that book that you're holding, and as you walk around me, it's doing something.
Well, it's making my hand tingle, and that's what it's doing. Are you okay?
Are you okay?
I feel fine. I mean, this is what I was hoping would happen. I was hoping that we would be able to open some secret passage by...
I jump out of the circle and just go, you wanted to cast a spell on me?
No, I don't want to cast a spell on you. Don't be ridiculous. But clearly this has been walked pathways. I'm just trying to see if it perhaps, like a booby trap, it opens up some other doorway somewhere.
You know what I mean? Something that you're doing is definitely doing something. I can feel it. And I move away from that spot that he had me standing in. I'm actually stepping outside.
The feeling starts to dissipate. That feeling, the minute you step out of that, you stop. The thing stops charging. It's still tingling around you, but you feel it. It's not building up anymore.
I don't know what it is you were doing when you were walking around in that circle, but as you walked around, it got worse.
I mean, all I was doing was walking, but I understand, maybe this is some sort of, if we had a bunch of us together, we could open some sort of portal with this thing on the ground. I mean, it certainly seems like that's a possibility, right? This was a church where they performed rituals. I
just turn around and start to walk away, like shaking my head. Portal to other, what? I'm just like walking away.
Speculating, Rob. What? You don't have to walk away.
It's my brain is starting to implode, like, house, crazy house. My companion knows magical things, and there's a place, a church that's built down with magical books. My guy's just like, and I'm saying this out loud. I'm like, what is going on?
Both of you add 2 to your Cthulhu mythos.
Add 2.
Yeah, just 2. What, do you want more?
I want 100. Where is Cthulhu mythos? God, every damn.
Oh, by the way, if you encounter the Great Old One himself, you have to roll 6 D100s for sanity loss.
Oh my god.
That's the sort of scale.
Is it under a cult? I don't see a Cthulhu mythos.
Well, I always
Cthulhu mythos is top right hand side.
Oh yeah.
Yog-Sothoth I'm a great fan. I'd love to meet him. So if we get a chance.
Big fan of your work. So you said 2?
Except it won't come out like that. It'll come out like...
Did you say you said 2 or 5 or what?
2.
Okay.
2. I'm at 12 now.
2.
Yeah.
I'm gonna follow Rob. Obviously, I mean we've walked this path. We've examined the area. I'm pretty convinced that we didn't find anything else, or we're not going to find anything else.
But you know that this is a place of importance. There's
right.
Something,
I mean, I assumed that anyway. I mean,
there's a reason this has been kept, and the church, the actual foundation of a church, a building of a church, maybe only served as privacy,
right.
But actually, it's not required. So maybe that's why nothing new's been built.
I'm gonna, on the way out of this center structure of what the church used to be, and where we saw that freshly painted symbol, I'm gonna take a rock and try to scrape a bit of it off, just to sort of deface it.
Yeah, it just comes off. No,
Okay.
like it's not magical or in itself.
Right, it's just paint. But
You know,
yeah, I want to sort of deface that symbol.
You feel a wee bit of a tingling though
Mhm.
as you do it. Like you
Okay.
still feel a bit of that static charge as you make the first score, but once you destroy the symbol itself, it kind of like just shoots up your arm briefly and then goes away.
It was incredible, strange feeling I just had. Just facing that symbol, it was almost as if it was pulsing out at me. Very strange.
Almost as if it was charged.
Well, it's not charged anymore. Destroy this thing. Okay, I mean, we checked out the remnants. I guess we go to the Hall of Records. I mean, what else do you think, Rob?
I guess so. It's just, does this feel like it's worth it? I mean, really.
I mean, we have a job to do. I don't understand. What happened to you? Why are you freaking out?
It just doesn't seem. This isn't like taking pictures of a husband cheating on his wife or trying to track someone down who's been missing. This is different. There's things that I'm feeling and seeing that and hearing that are just. I'm sorry.
Your concern. I perhaps because I'm not feeling the exact same things that you are, that it's not as important to me to consider dropping the case or concluding it.
I'm not thinking about dropping the case. I think we need to tell Mr. Knott what we find after we hit the library. I think we need to make sure we talk to him immediately about what we're seeing, because if he is holding back any information, I'm walking from this case.
Very well. Let's do that.
So you're heading to the library again?
Yeah. So
I walk away from a medical career.
What do you think we should be asking them specifically when we get there? We want to know about.
I want to know about the Corbett case that went to trial in 1912.
Right. What happened in the trial? That's right. Okay.
And I want to know what happened to Mr. Corbett, if there was ever a autopsy done, and where did his body finally end up?
Right.
Like maybe we should find out where his body actually ended up,
Okay.
because he wanted to be buried in the house, but are we sure his body was actually buried where
Right.
it was supposedly buried, or did someone maybe exhume the corpse and then put it in the house, and the house is haunted because of that?
Yeah. I didn't think about that. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So, whenever you reach the library, it's same as always. Stephanie Richards is still behind her desk, behind the little front. So you've got the front desk, and then the bit behind where the sort of Dewey Decimal System cards and all that. She's kind of floating about back there. You've got one of the library assistants at the reception at the front if you need help.
I want to approach the library assistant. Pardon me, ma'am.
Oh yeah, hello, sir. How can I help you?
Well, we're trying to find out some information about an old house, and there's some sort of legal action that was taken against the builder and Mr. Corbett, and there was a trial.
Cool. Who went to the library last time?
I did.
You did. So you've
I've talked.
You remember you already found out about the petition,
right? So I understand that, but the actual trial itself, I want to see if there's any transcripts or.
Oh, sir, they wouldn't be held here. They'd be at the Central Police Station. Any court records, that's where they're held.
I'd look over at Rob. So what do you think? Should we just head over there?
What about the lawsuit of 1866? Sorry, that's the time frame I think of. Is there any information on that here?
It wouldn't be here, sir.
You don't have newspaper clippings from back then?
Of course, you're more than welcome to look.
While we're here, we might as well just go check. Yeah.
All right. So, obviously, she takes you to the section of the clippings. So, if you both give me a library use roll, please.
I got a 70 in that. This should be a cinch. Should be.
What was your library use?
What the hell? I rolled a 90, and my library use is a 70.
All right,
I
that's
scored an 88 in library use, and I have a 60 in mine. So yeah, I missed.
Gosh, what is happening? Oh,
just give you some rope and twine and like canyons and chasms, and you're fine. You're backflipping and ninja rolling, no bother. But that. So basically, it's just this. It was just a hullabaloo at the time. You know, Walter Corbett, he was carrying out unnatural practices that they were worried, and these strange folk from the church were coming back and forward to his house, and you know, it was a scandal. Children were going missing. You kind of know that. And the court, you know, from the first court case, it's the same information again. They tried to get him evicted from the home, but it failed. But there was a second one to prevent him being buried in his own house, but you've no record. No record exists in the library or in the newspapers of how it turned out. It just seemed the story just seems to have petered out.
Mm-hmm.
You look back and forward a couple of years after, and nothing was ever mentioned of it again.
All right, so should we head over to the police, whatever the police
The
records
central
are?
police station where the court records are held.
Yeah, should we go there?
I guess I'm not sure we're going to see anything different, but sure, let's take a look.
So go there. It's a police reception area, like any other. People bustling back and forward, but because this is the headquarters, there's a section off to the right hand side, which is the Higher Court's records, and it looks almost like a library built onto the side of the police station reception. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So you go into the main foyer, there's a police desk, but to the right is like a separate set of double doors.
Okay. I'm going to go in the...
Yeah, follow.
Right. So at the front, you open the double doors and like a mini sort of reception area again, and the receptionist, you see her name tag. Her name's Kim Debron. Just is just sitting there. You know, her head sort of looks up. You know, it's coming. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hello. We're hoping you could help us. We're looking for court transcripts of Mr. Walter Corbett, and this was back in... Like
1866.
1866.
There's a lawsuit.
Sir, I'm sure you can appreciate that court records are confidential. Are you involved in a case at all?
In fact, we are, yes.
So what I'll need is you can either use law skill or persuade.
Oh, I got a
Don't
40
we
in
have a
law.
candlestick or something? We just bonking around. Well, no, I'm just kidding.
That'll go well. You can do that if you... I'm not going to tell you not to do anything, you know. Just...
So I rolled a
Well, guys-
63 out of 40, so I clearly did not do it.
No, it's...
Let's see. I don't know if I have anything that's going to make it better.
I mean, I could press it if we're just not going to get anything, but I don't know if that's going to help.
I got a 17. My persuasion, I think, is only 10, though. What was the other thing I could roll it with?
Law.
Law.
Law? Oh, my law is 50. So I have a 17 and I got a 50 law. So
you kind of you can blag that there's a case. You can throw some terms at her.
blah blah blah. This thing, that thing. We also
beer,
need based on
beer,
statute
beer,
42. We can
Yeah.
do this, and you know.
Wah, wah, wah. Or, you know, what is this? Snoopy Peanuts? Wah, 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 wah. Yes, kind of looks at you. Oh yeah, there's my sister Shelley is in the back. She would know that. Obviously, if you make it worth her while.
Oh, we'll make it worth her while.
I mean, he did such a good job weaving bullshit that I'm just going to stay quiet and let him go.
So she points you through to the sort of the records department. And you're looking for her sister, Shelley Debron.
Shelley.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're looking. We see.
She's just sitting couple of desks down. It was just a file of desks where people can come. So basically, if you need to have consultations, just row of desks, side of the wall. You walk down the main corridor and just stop at who you need to speak to.
We need to look at the tort cases for 1866.
Sir, I'm sure you appreciate I'm busy. You know, it's obviously got quite a bit just to stop here and help you, gentlemen.
Kim told us that you would help us out. I'm sorry. She said that you would be able to help us with lawsuit cases.
Oh, she did she?
Yeah, and then I put a $10 bill on the table and just slide it over.
She just palms it gently, and well, of course, if Kim recommended you, I wouldn't desist. I'm sure you appreciate. I'm going to have to take some time out of my busy schedule here. Just not doing very much. You know what I mean, like most civil servants are sitting there, not being very busy, but looking industrious.
Yeah.
Yep. That's a month's wages right there. So yeah, I hope you have time.
So. She takes you back, starts looking through sort of records, anything to do with a case, and then she pulls out one, and it's referring to the police raid on the Church of Contemplation. So there was actually a secret raid carried out.
Really?
So the police, basically, there's the affidavits, there's the patrol reports from the officers, and essentially the neighborhood's children were disappearing. This cult and Corbett seemed to be at the center of what was going on, and just because of connections, normal police tactics were being blocked left, right, and center. So eventually, a small team get together in utmost secrecy, and they gathered loyal officers and said to carry out a raid. There's a whole battle ensued. I just start to read through the reports. There was 3 policemen were killed, 17 of the cult members, and then one of them started a fire in the church while they were still fighting. They seem to have piled up books, and they poured kerosene over them and set it on fire, and that's started setting fire to the curtains in the church while they were still actually engaging with police officers.
Jeez.
There's some autopsy reports in there as well, but there's nothing really substantial about them. You know, they're just ordinary people. There weren't like dental records didn't really prove anything. You know, that these weren't wanted people. They just seemed to be random, ordinary members of society that just happened to be part of a church. And all in all, 54 members of the church were arrested, and all but 8 of them were released. So most of them managed to get out in bail or technicalities. They only managed to keep 8. The records hint of illegal intervention in the proceedings. So evidence was tampered with. Officers were bribed. The fact that this raid happened shows how difficult it was to penetrate this group or to get somebody else. So it suggests that there's moles in the actual police department themselves. This is while very quiet, very far-reaching society.
Wow.
So
This is
the names of the 4 people who are still incarcerated. Are they listed?
They're not. In fact, for some reason, there seems to be pages missing from this report.
Gotcha.
You notice the number sequence in some of the reports and the dates. Stuff's been pulled out, redacted. So even at this stage, and so many years later, there's still secrecy that they don't want their members known. Strange enough, there's no prison records or the court records of the actual convictions. But you do notice that Pastor Michael Thomas, he was arrested and sentenced to 40 years in prison on 5 counts of second-degree murder. And he actually escaped from prison in 1917 and fled the state, never to be heard of again.
Okay.
1917. You said he escaped.
1917, he escaped from prison.
That's like what? How many years is that? It's like 7 years from now.
5.
5 years?
What's it? 23. 5 years.
Oh, 5
6 years. Sorry, 6.
6 years.
Do you this seems to be clearly being covered up by agents of the state. They were able to keep this biggest criminal action in the city's history under wraps. I think this might be bigger than us.
Yes, I think we should go to.
So this is the
Mr.
equivalent.
Nuts.
God, when was Capone around?
I don't know, but I know you're talking about.
Capone was in the 1920s when he became big with prohibition.
So this
selling
is
alcohol.
this is that sort of level.
Yeah, this
If
is
not bigger.
definitely bigger than.
Strangely, though, no report, or there might be news reports.
I think Mr. Knott might have to cut his losses here.
I think someone should light a match on that house and do the same with the basement of that church. And the books we have, I think we find a way that no one ever sees them again. But let's talk to Mr. Knott first and see what he wants to do.
There's a couple of things that we could follow up on if we were inclined to do so. I mean, clearly we could have someone start to try to translate this tome. We could follow up on the Boston Globe reporter, find out what maybe he's working to uncover all of this, and perhaps we could join forces with him in some measure. But ultimately, we need to let Mr. Knott know what he stumbled into.
But the thing is, as soon as we bring the Globe into it, they're going to want to know what we know, and they're going to know their story has some teeth. So as soon as we do that, what Mr. Knott told us to do to keep this under wraps will no longer be under wraps.
Right.
So I think we talk to Mr. Knott first before we involve anyone else. And
Of course,
my biggest concern is what
Globe
if this
has
spreads?
records.
Right. What's that?
The Golden Globe does have records, that might not necessarily have been in print. That's
Yeah,
always an
I mean,
option.
our biggest concern is we have no emotional connection to these people. And so if they're trying to get a story, they might just take any bit of information we know and run with it before we can even tell Mr. Knott or anything. And so,
Right. So you're going to go back to the offices and maybe call Mr. Knott back in?
yeah, I think
Actually, I'd rather go to Mr. Knott's office himself and go to him instead of having him go to our office. I want to actually talk to him without involving our employer, just because if it turns out to be something that we're going to have to walk away from, it's going to be... I really would feel bad for our employer for the way that this would all go down. So maybe we can control the burn a little bit if we only include Mr. Knott.
Okay, so you're going to head to Mr. Knott's offices then. Not to, like most businesses, like I said, these Dalton property, most business offices are in central Boston, so you're within tram ride or walking distance.
Okay.
And
we
we
have
call
a
Mr. Knott's office, or do we just want to go, do you think?
Sorry?
Gerald? I'm asking Gerald, should we call first, or should we just show up?
I say we just show up. I mean, as long as it's not lunch hour, we should be all right.
All right. We do that.
Okay, so just go up the officers as usual. Receptionist in the front, small. It's actually quite similar for a man that controls so much and worth what he is. His offices are quite basic that he runs his business out of. It's actually not dissimilar to your own. Mm-hmm. So you have like the front part where a reception desk put out. You've got a receptionist there. He's got his main office off to the side. There's like you can kind of sense that there's a couple of meeting rooms. A few clerks running about. It's not massively busy or full of activity.
Mm-hmm.
So what he needs to actually run his business isn't very much in terms of infrastructure. So, so not the receptionist looks up and greets you. Oh, good afternoon, sirs.
Hello, this is Mr. Horton and Mr. Hellstadt to see Mr. Knott, please.
Is he expecting you?
Not at the moment.
I don't know if he'd be busy or not.
Could you please check, dear?
Of course. She kind of discreetly, rather than picking up the phone, she discreetly knocks the door, steps in.
I whisper over to Gerald, if you have to, turn on the charm.
I feel a little rusty after the church incident.
She comes out now. Oh, yes, certainly. Please, sir, this way, Mr. Norton. More than happy to speak to you.
Thank you, my dear.
He was just sitting in front of his desk. He had a few papers on it, but he kind of looks up expectantly. Oh, gentlemen, do you have news? What's happening?
You want to take this, Rob?
Well, there's a lot, and I can tell you honestly, it's not good from everything that we've looked at. So I start going through, and I start with the original builder, Mr. Corbett. Let's see. Let's grab my notes. So Mr. Corbett built the house. He was sued because he wanted to have his body buried in the house. Some other things were going on. That lawsuit was then covered up or finalized where he won. There seemed to be a church that was in connection, the Church of the Chapel of Contemplation, where there was a police raid that was tied up with also in the history. Seems that there was a lot of people were killed. Cult members,
I just get more visibly shocked as you're recounting this, because this is not. He's always managed to be an honourable man in his dealings, and even managed to, insofar, avoid the mob and not have, especially being able to have properties on the docks and not have to deal with the mob. It's always been a point of pride. So you are, as you recount your story, you're actually making him visibly shaken.
So ultimately, there was a police raid, and the police raid, many people died. There was a total of 54 people arrested. Of the individuals in the raid, 17 cult members were killed. Several police officers were injured and killed. And it looks like it was all covered up by the state. We don't know how high this goes and how far it goes and how deep the rabbit hole it truly is. But we went to the church. There is definitely nefarious purposes involving that house and groups that are involved with that house. And we actually have.
Yes.
Do you have the book?
Indeed,
Gerald?
I do. I'll just gently put it on the table.
He's afraid to touch it. He's like, I
This
want no
book-
part of this.
We understand
book-
that.
But these books, we believe, have something to do with the entity that is actually haunting your house, and we know it is haunting your house. Your house is haunted. I was thrown out a window, and Gerald watched. No one else was there. I was pushed out the window.
Furniture
by
was
a
He just looks at you in complete disbelief and horror. He's like, no, that's have I not paying you enough? Is this a joke? Are you trying to ruin
We're
me?
not-
What have I
You
done
need
to
to
you?
understand, this is real, and it's worse than what we've said so far. Reverend Michael Thomas, who was the executor of Mr. Corbett's will and was part of the raid by the state that was covered up, actually broke out of prison like 6 years ago, and he's still at large. That home was never meant to be sold to you, and this cult still has control of it.
Are they going to come after me and my family? I don't
It's
want.
entirely possible unless you liquidate this asset some way.
I can't sell it. I told you that nobody will touch this house. I've even tried putting it on the market. I didn't even personally I prospected out, and it just came through the properties office. I thought
I
it was
would
an
burn
auction.
it down then. Get rid of it.
I'm no criminal, sir.
It's not
It's
a crime.
your home.
It's your home.
You can do whatever
Do
you
you-
like with it.
Do you
You could tear it
understand
to the
that?
ground.
As long as you're not trying to make insurance money off of it, you can tear homes down. Say you're going
It's
to
your
build
home.
something on top of it.
Is there any way I can sell it back to these people?
I would not
That's a
have
real estate
any
issue.
interaction with these people if I were you.
He just he puts his head in his hand. He just thinks, "Oh my, what? 40 years in business, 40 years and nothing like this has ever happened. I just wanted to create affordable homes because we're people need to still be able to live and work, or else this city will crumble. I don't think you know what's coming. It's things aren't looking good. I've just tried to do my bit to help. Why am I involved in this?
Well,
Did
I
I just leave the house? There's got to be something. I can't just leave a house that people could live in or do something with. What?
Would you like to go to the house, and why don't you spend a couple hours there and walk through the house like we did? And if you see or feel anything like we did, you'll know that the house is evil. I myself will not go back in that house. Not even the room full of crosses. And I look over at Gerald.
This is news to him, by the way, because he hadn't actually, he wasn't hands-on with any of this. He had the idea, and he had people act out in his behalf. So even after the Macarios were carried away, this is the first of him being involved, because he tried to sell the house on, and it's only by meeting all of a sudden these roadblocks, which he's never encountered in his life, that he's felt compelled to find out what actually is happening with the place. You can tell by his countenance and his reaction to what you're saying that he never intended for any of this and was definitely not a willing participant.
Mm-hmm.
And he's almost dumbfounded as to how to resolve this. He's just looking at you imploringly for, like, there's a pleading in his eyes for help. He wants this gone so he can, move on, because he knows if he just buys another house, he'll be accused of being the thing that he's trying not to be. So if he just leaves that property fallow and then buys another one, he starts to explain this to you. If I just leave that, I'll be accused. You understand, my reputation is everything. I'll be accused of doing like the large companies and just buying property so people can't live in them to force house prices up. The press get hold of this. That's what I'll be accused of. I can't just leave this house as it is.
Sir, we're not a PR firm. We are a PI firm. We've investigated the home. We're telling you our results. We don't know how to help you with any potential fallout here, but we are sure about the information that we're telling you about the home.
Fine, I'll go and look at the place after work, if that's what you need me to do. This is madness.
And I'll bring a can of kerosene and we'll wait outside for you.
Right.
I would be happy to go with you if that would make you feel better.
If you would, I don't know how to proceed with this.
Look, we tried to.
He's lost for words. He's kind of mumbling and visibly in shock. That for some reason this particular property has taken its toll on him more than anything in his life.
Oh, we get it. We get why.
Well, yeah. I got the bruises to prove it. So.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
At this point, we did what he paid us to do and investigated what was going on. But I don't know what we're supposed to do from this point. I mean, we can't salvage his reputation. We can't. He made a bad deal. That happens. But
we could do. I mean, it'd be probably unethical. He could always say some other business rival is trying to purchase the house away from him, and
that's what he was trying to get you to investigate. That's what he thought. It was something like that going on. So, what are you doing now? Go back to the office and leave him to it, or?
I mean, if he tells us when he's going to be there, I'll meet him outside the house.
So he says he'll go after work, which is usually around about 5 p.m. So he'll head straight there.
And as we start to leave, I basically say, Gerald, he seems to be innocent in all this, but I wonder if we looked in his closet, would he have any robes that would match those of the corpses we found in the bottom of the church in his closet?
Why would he come to us then?
I don't know. This all makes no sense. None of this makes any sense.
I mean, it clearly seems like that cult that owns this house, that accidentally had it sold, their presence is still still in the structure of this home. They still own it, whether or not legally or not. But I would imagine if we went down into that home's basement, we would probably find some paraphernalia similar to what we found in the church.
If you wish to go into the house, I'll wait for you outside.
I'll go with Mr. Knott. I don't want us to be the last people to see him before he dies. He's never seen again, and now we're on the hook for his murder or something. So let's make sure we're telling our boss where we're going, with why, and we have to make sure that we're not the center of this investigation from here on out.
Agreed.
So we're gonna go back to our office and sort
Okay.
of download to the boss.
So, yeah, I said, well, gentlemen, what's the story? Have we got any closer to resolving this? Obviously,
Just vomit it all out on him.
just do a Reagan on him.
Yeah.
And what do we do with the books? The journal and the book?
Well, it's up to yourselves. You
Do
can
we
keep
leave
them
them there with him?
You can go to the library. You could leave them there with him if you wanted.
I did leave the big one. I didn't pick that one back up, the Latin one.
He can have it.
Wrapped in silk. Yeah. No, if someone comes looking for it, this poor guy, he's like, someone put it on my desk. I don't know. I didn't take it, I swear.
Where are the drugs going?
Yeah. Who does
Swear
the
to me.
Yeah, I'm at a loss, man. I don't know. So we're gonna
Right,
tell
so-
the boss everything that we know, obviously, and just sort of like, do you have any ideas?
Oh god, this seems. The mob have used the dodging around for years. Cults, like this is the 20th century, man. What the hell?
I mean,
Thought all that
cults
stuff
are
died
real.
out.
They exist.
Oh, we know that, but I thought this is a year of modern times. Especially here, you'd expect that out in the Midwest or Hicksville or something, not in Boston. This is civilized city.
I agree.
So he suggests that you don't not go to the house on his own. That would be until we can find a way to disentangle or complete the investigation. Accompanying him would be the best thing.
Well, I'm a little bit personally confused about what else we can uncover, because, like, from my standpoint, where he asked us to inspect the home, see what's going on with the family, and like we did due diligence. I don't know
Yep.
what else we could do.
So
We
what
could
it's
call
looking
the
like
cops
from
and
what
call
you've
up the
investigated
bodies.
so far, not purchase this house due to a clerical error. It wasn't meant to have it at all.
Mhm.
It could have been any home. It just happened. Just by fate, he purchased this one, which is being tied up with a cult that both the house and the church have been deliberately left as they were.
Mhm.
And just by chance, as he bought the house, the family moving in obviously encountered what they encountered and were driven insane. You're now faced with the possibility that there's a body buried in this house, that there's a mad reverend running around, still active and in charge of a cult,
Mhm.
looking for you. Now that you have put yourselves on the radar, you're possibly going to be in the crosshairs.
Well, I don't
So the
have
way,
any evidence of them knowing that. So for us if we are going to be encountered at some point, then we'll know that.
Mhm.
I'm at this point, I'm not even worried that anybody knows that we are even looking into it. My character's not thinking about that at all. So I'm waiting for I'm going, I think I'm going to take the rest of the day off and I'm going to go home and I'm going to put back a few beers and try to see if I can figure out what's going on, even though it's illegal to have beer at this time. So
I'm going to meet our benefactor, Mr. Knott, at the house.
Right. So obviously time passes. What are we doing? Need to bring our favorite place back up again.
I mean, we have to get into the basement of that house. That's got to be it, because if they were successful in burying the body there, maybe we could just exhume the body and resolve the issue. If there is that priest that didn't actually flee town and he is still living in the basement, we should at least take care of him, get the police to come over and take care of it.
Sounds like a plan, right? So hang on. Is that your token? I want to remove. Do me a favor, Adam. Move your token slightly. Right, that's okay. Okay, so that's just yourself. We'll just have you meet Mr. Knott.
Okay.
And he's sort of nervous. Really? Do you explain to him about the outside and the windows and the fact that they're nailed shut?
Yeah, I just assumed we had downloaded that when we were telling him about everything.
Yeah,
that we
he never.
experienced.
He's trembling and goes, "I never asked for this to be done."
No, but this is clearly the actions of terrified people who lived here. You know, I mean, please come inside. So I unlocked the door.
No, I mean, and he explains that even after Gabriella turned herself into the asylum, these windows were not nailed shut. He had every intention of renting the property out again or selling it on. So this has been a development since that's taken place.
Oh, yes, we did not know that. I mean, you should take a look in this foyer. So,
should we search the rooms? Is there anything here?
well, we didn't encounter anything except for voices, moving furniture on its own accord, and Rob being thrown out of a window. So I suggest we don't go up to the upper levels.
So he opens the first door to your left as you go in, and he kind of it's
You mean this door in here?
No, to your left, the other side.
This
That's the living room. Yeah. Okay. So he starts rummaging about. It's just full of boxes and storage, and just like there's even bicycles and stuff. Are you going to help him search or look around to see if there is anything?
Yeah, I'm trying to lead him to the basement. I mean, what we need to understand is if the body's still here. If Corbett is buried here, that's because clearly if Corbett's still buried here, then the priest is involved in this and he's the one that nailed down the windows. Like that's my logical leap here. So I'm like, don't bother searching, this sort of stuff. Let's go see if the body is in the basement. Pull up my flashlight.
So gun. You start leading them in towards the basement.
Yeah. Just go in slowly, see if we hear anything. Each little creaky footstep.
Right. So the door to the basement has a lock, 3 bolts. It's able to be opened from the upstairs side only. Below the main basement storage room. The stairs are in poor repair and the electric light bulb doesn't work. The walls of the basement are lined with closely fitted boards, so it's a paneling sort of stuff.
Okay. So
same as knowing you came from the second to the first, you just need the dexterity.
Okay.
So
dexterity is.
15. Are you going first or is not?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to go first. He's a civilian as far as I'm concerned. Oh, sweet hell. 95.
You stand on the first step and it just cracks from under you and you just like
son of a bitch.
You take 1d6 of damage. You just land and flat in your face.
Do you want me to roll it or are you gonna roll it?
No, you roll it.
D6. 6.
Oh, you feel something snap.
Fucking hell. Like, damn that! Your sweet hell!
Elbow cracks and you feel your arm just because you put your arm out. You put your arms out to brace your fall and you just feel your collarbone just snap. Are you okay down there?
No! I am anything but okay. You have a house in disrepair, sir. God.
I'll go get help. And he
don't leave.
He runs out the
Mr. Nut, son of a bitch.
He's gone.
Well, I'm alone in a haunted house. The bottom of there. In Rob, where the fuck is Rob?
Will to me, Rex. Will to me.
Rob, I need you.
So you're now in the basement. Gather you brought your flashlights with you.
Yeah, I'd said when we were on the front level that I pulled out my flashlight and my pistol.
Yep.
So I look around from when I fell through and I pick up my pistol and my flashlight, nursing my arm as best as I can and like sort of looking around the walls at the paneling. I mean, I have no idea where the hell this dude went. Hopefully he went to the police. I'm going to start going and like banging on the walls in these different
All right.
areas.
Give me spot hidden.
Spot hidden is 50. Come on, give me a low number, please. 33 out of 50.
Right. You see something glint, just sort of wedged, just in the corner behind looks like a box.
Yeah, all right. Is there anything in the immediate area that I can grab to pry open the paneling, or should I just like bust through it?
You can. Some of it's loose, but just behind the brick wall. But this thing catches your eye.
So I'm looking closer at it. What is it?
Right. You see, it's a blade.
A blade, like a knife in the wall.
Just behind. There's a box, and you just saw the glint of
Okay.
your.
So I move the box
the light.
aside.
Yep. You see this ornate dagger just lying there.
Okay, so I'm going to pick up the ornate dagger.
It immediately starts. You feel it, that tingling that you felt in the church in your hand.
Whoa. So does the tingling prevent me from doing anything? Like
the knife's actually physically trying to remove itself from your hand.
Okay, I'm going to look around me. Do I hear anything? Do I see anything in this area?
No, but you feel this. Your hand's starting to get you're feeling this thing fighting against you the minute you pick it up.
Like just as far as the layout of the home goes, there has to be some sort of door on this wall.
For some reason, everything's nailed shut, or it's been paneled all over.
So was the knife in this wall area?
Yeah. Hang on. Yeah. What are you going to do? You're feeling this knife. It's almost as if it's trying to jump out of your hand. What are you going to do about it?
I mean, I'll just stick it like blade first into one of the boxes.
Yep. Then just straight in. Yeah, and you see it quivering, as almost as if it's trying to wrench itself free,
even from the box.
Yeah.
So I'm going to move the box that it's sticking in to a different part of the wall. Is it still vibrating?
Yeah. You've seemed to have woken it up or something.
I'm trying to see if it's reacting to any specific area, or if it's just in general. You know, like closer to a hidden door is what I'm looking for. Because if not, then I'm just going to leave it because there's nothing else I can do about it. I'm going to start trying to rip open the paneling.
Okay, so give me another spot hidden.
Spot hidden. I think it was 50. Come on, low roll, low roll, low roll. 90.
Yeah, you're still pulling, and you're finding wall panels behind the wood.
So you said I can press a roll, but something bad would happen if I fail it?
Yeah.
I mean, I have a 50-50 chance here. I want to press the roll.
Okay.
My luck hasn't been very good, but I have to roll at some point. Come on. 55. Still not. Damn it.
You just you pull away and you start to see a bit of a gap, a hole, and the knife flies up out of the board and starts floating in the air.
What the? Okay, I'm keeping my flashlight on the knife.
It's turning and just points its blade towards you.
Whoa! I grab. Is there anything like wood, or is there like boxes I can pick up?
There's boxes and stuff lying about.
I'm gonna pick it up and put it in front of me.
Yeah, give me a dexterity roll.
Okay, that's 50. Come on, baby. 52.
The knife just shoots towards you. Just misses the side of the board and grazes you on the arm. Remember, you've got a broken wing as well.
Yeah.
So graze you again. Give me another D6
Jeez.
Damage. Oh, Jesus Christ. What are you down to now?
I'm down to -1.
Oh, God, you
It's
slices through your... Oh, right.
I just dropped down. Jeez,
Slices through your jugular.
unbelievable.
You just start losing consciousness, blood leaves. You've only got one hand, and you know if you drop the board, it's going to just come at you again. And
I'm beyond my hit points. I only had
you're just
down.
you see as life starts to leave you. You see the ghostly form of someone just pulling the life into their hand, and the last thing you see as you leave your earthly coil are these burning red eyes just staring you with absolute venom and hatred.
I should have stabbed him with the knife. Okay. Oh, that sucks. So Rob is watching
Right.
I Love Lucy.
Yep. Rob. So obviously, you have passed out asleep.
Okay, I'm sleeping.
You're woken by a banging on your door.
And I look around and I go,
Open
do
up,
I have the
police!
cans? I get the cans that I have and I shove them into a. Actually, there's no cans, right? I mean, it's pretty a bottle more than less like any.
Bottles,
so I have a bottle of whatever bottles I have. I just put them in the sink and run some water, and I just try to go to the door and I open the doors. What is this all about?
But you're under it, right? The police just crash in and just grab you, manhandle you to the floor.
Okay.
Cuff you behind. So you are under arrest for the murders of Gerald Hurlstad and Everin Knott.
Oh, not I do. Oh man.
What?
What
are you talking about?
The police just they just haul you off, just drag you up and haul you off the jail.
What are you talking about? Last time I saw Gerald, he was alive. Last time we saw Mr. Knott was in his office this afternoon.
That's all transpired. So obviously you're arrested, you're charged with murder. During the trial, when the police carry out their investigation and check your cupboards, they find strange robes of silk in your cupboard. It turns out that your partner, Gerald, was found stabbed to death in the basement of the Knott house that you're supposed to investigate. Mr. Knott himself, similar sort of fate in the doorway. During the trial, it comes out there's a paper trail that you've actually had money placed into your account by
I have an account?
arrival. Yeah, bank account. Yeah. Your paper trail, there's money has been placed into your bank account by a rival firm of Mr.
Wait,
Knott's,
I have money?
Well, you do now.
I can afford a lawyer.
No, because your bank account's been suspended, and now this transaction, which is very poorly hidden, but so that people can find it. Mr. Dooley gives
Can I have a final thing
testimony at your trial.
Okay. Can I say something at the trial?
Oh, you can say whatever you want, but we all know how this is going.
I was going to say Basil Weapon is a devil worsted.
And
everyone's all...
Yeah, and Mr. Dooley actually recognizes that phrase when he's given evidence at your own hidden state when you barged into his cigar shop. He, of course, hasn't won the gossip, but he was disturbed when he accidentally overheard your tale of demons infesting your mind, and you felt like you were on a dark path and being called somewhere that you shouldn't.
Oh, man.
You are summarily convicted of both murders and sentenced to life imprisonment.
Oh, so I wasn't found insane. Well, at least I'm sane.
No.
If I was not insane.
However, 5 years into your sentence, the dreams continue, and you still see this black presence, and every night you feel it come into your cell, and eventually it just gets too much that you can't take it anymore, and eventually decide to end your life.
Oh,
just to rid yourself of this presence that's followed you ever since World War I. it was reported that just you suffered from shell shock. You're just a poor unfortunate from the war who never dealt with his demons or got the right spiritual counseling. The priest as well gave a short testimony to the newspapers about how you'd come in and you had a sense of evil about you, the way you'd come in
That
to
priest.
the church and almost practically
I'm
desecrated
sure
the
there are
ground.
Protestants too.
Oh, well, at least they didn't get me. It was my choice. It was my choice.
The house is never really spoken of again, but quietly ownership changes hands to a charitable foundation, never to be used and eventually forgotten about, and it carries on.
I like Chris's headline for Boston
So-
Herald.
What was that?
And hold on. Not a good investment. Local businessman murdered in the basement of. Yeah, Not was murdered in the corridor. But strangely enough, there was no evidence of it when Gerald was still in it. It's almost like it happened later and he was brought back.
So when I was convicted of murder, who was the witness that said it was me?
Oh, obviously, that they had to go into witness protection scheme, being so fearful, and the fact
So
that
you're
you're
saying that
attached.
there was no witness, and I got convicted of murder without a witness. Oh,
Well,
that's awesome!
Yeah, but
No corruption there.
strangely enough, any records of your trial of strangely went missing after
But I was in the trial.
Yeah,
You'd almost think there was a secret society, working behind the scenes.
Oh man, dang it! Anyone inside the in the courtroom that I might have noticed or recognized?
Nah,
Maybe
it was
I look
all
like a funny-looking priest.
No, he happily gave testimony.
I should have
not that
shot
priest.
at that stupid knife.
Right. Obviously, what I'll do is I'll kind of break it down. So, if you've never played this adventure before and you want to play it, I don't want spoilers. Cut off here.
Shoot.
And obviously, guys, used to more welcome. There's loads of reviews. This is actually one of the most well-known adventures.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I should have read it.
One of the first. Yeah, but you would have. Obviously,
no
in
idea
hindsight, when you read back, you just did everything basically right. You just went through the locations. If you had went to the Boston Globe, you could have went down into the vault, which was it was known as the morgue, with the old clippings. You would have found out a bit more about Knott, but everything was basically pointing you back to the house, and the fact that Knott's body was buried there, that's where you were being led.
You mean Corbin?
Corbett, sorry, not Corbett. Yeah, you would have encountered Corbett. The knife was, the fact you grabbed the knife meant it didn't attack you straight away. But the fact that you put it you stuck it into the wood and then you failed your roll meant it came back. If you had passed the roll, you would have went into the next storage room. You would have encountered something else before you actually got to Knott's hiding place. And then you would have encountered his body.
Corbett, yeah. Okay.
And the whole by his own weapon. So the knife was the weapon that would have ended Corbett.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then if you had succeeded in that, then obviously you would have been celebrated. You would have lifted the curse in the house, and you'd have been paid handsomely and carried on. Anything that deviates from that, anything that deviates from that basically leads to disaster. So, what would have happened if you hadn't went with Knott? He would have went himself and got murdered, and you just both would have been charged.
Yeah, I saw that coming.
Yeah, that's basically what would have happened. The whole thing with the Contemplation Society is unique to this game. That came about. That was an extra.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Because this is, like I said last time, this is meant to be a basic adventure. So you're just meant to go through the locations. The chapel obviously was an extra as well. So we've added a bit of dimension. That's why anyone that's interested in this, it's not a paint by numbers sort of game. Even though there's templates of adventures, you can follow them, but the game takes a life of its own, and it's good to go with it. That's the fun of this.
Yeah.
So the Contemplation Society, if he'd had succeeded in this, and if we had to come back for another adventure, what I would have done was you'd have been established investigators, and people would have come with you with stranger requests now because you got known in this quest circles for like being investigators of the unknown or the paranormal, and that would have led on to more.
That's cool.
Which would have been fun. Which can obviously, there's loads of adventures with this game. We can, obviously reset with new characters, new thing. But yeah, the crux was you were basically right there up until by going alone and by not keeping hold of the knife.
Just bad rolls, man.
And bad rolls as well.
Yeah.
But that's what happens.
Yeah.
Especially
and
at
that's
100 point, if you're using a percentile and you have a huge swing. I mean, it's a recipe for bad things to happen. It's just it's just gonna happen.
And then this game is designed, it's you specialize in certain areas, but as you've realized, you specialize in a certain area might necessarily be beneficial to the investigation. But then that's why we have the ground zero. That's why we have the chat.
Mm-hmm.
So there wasn't really anything. None of us were like completely out there. In terms of anything. You wouldn't have known to read Latin, and you could pick another adventure, have read Latin on your skills, but then it's an ancient Egyptian.
Yeah,
it's just that kind of way. All what would have happened
that would fall under
book,
education, though, right? Shouldn't like that kind of thing? If you don't have a skill, like fall under your education role?
It would do, and that's why under that you were able to like read the title just from.
I have a 70 education.
Biology.
I don't think.
But they actually study the book.
Yeah.
Would have shown that he's working magical workings, and the idea was he wanted to live forever, and he was obviously serving the darker force. If you had translated the book, you would have got extra. You would have lost a point in sanity and got extra Cthulhu mythos points.
Oh,
because of the contents.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, the other thing as well, the church, that actual ritual was an extra too. The actual walk in the pattern.
Yeah,
and call it that was not in the original adventure.
I liked it,
but it was something to play with.
Yeah,
the extra dimension to this was actually having the secret society beneath the church. Gave us a whole extra thing to play with, and we could have went down, loads of directions with it.
Yeah,
but all in all, I've had a blast playing this. It's been a great time, and we've had 3 really good sessions.
Yeah.
I mean, no time was wasted here. It was I feel like we've been engaged and not just flapping through this. I've definitely enjoyed myself as running this game. I hope you guys have enjoyed playing it.
For sure.
Oh yeah, it was fun.
I've never played this before, so it's brand new to me.
Yeah, Cthulhu is completely new to me. I barely even understand the character sheet, so
it's a lot. But then that's why I don't. The whole thing we run this game, and if you ever plan to run it yourself, is don't get bogged down on it. Right, that's where you could trip up if you run this game, is to get bogged down in the technicalities. And sometimes you better just fluff it, just a rule for the rule's sake, just to be doing something, and it's not necessarily life and death.
Yeah,
all the time. It's like you fail the role at the church. It doesn't mean it just made an interesting role play, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
you weren't going to get anything substantial. He might have give you a cross, which you might have taken a couple of points off by having it in your pocket. Something like that. He would have pointed you back to maybe the Boston Globe or back to the courts that something like the church gave evidence.
Right.
If you had won that, he wouldn't have really given you anything like super substantial, if that makes sense. He just steered you back in course. So nothing, like I said, nothing went off on a mad tangent. Nothing was the role playing was excellent. A lot of fun. Especially seeing your last character, Derek, that we played together. This one was a completely different turn. And the random aggression that came out of your character was fantastic. Just like, so you played that whole aspect of your character, and shocked the NPCs.
Yeah, but my favorite part is when Chris in chat said, "Hey, Derek's lawyer was Rick Moranis from Ghostbusters."
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I just wanted to make a mention of that. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, see it here. Yeah, well done, Chris. Thanks for doing it. So there we go, folks. That was The Haunting by Call of Cthulhu. Hope you enjoyed it. And hopefully, guys, if you're open, I know there are a few things coming up, but after we get the next few games out of the way, we'll maybe revisit this. Maybe have another character as well. Maybe 3 people. This is not designed for lots of players. I think you've probably got that.
Yeah.
It's not like a huge party goes out, like D&D, for example, or even it's for a small group of players, so it's cool that you don't have to rely on a large group to be able to play this game. You can even play with 2 people.
Yeah.
That's the way this game's designed. And the focus is kind of different. It's not just go in and fight things.
Yeah.
What else could you have? The only other thing you could have got was if you had to search that first room, there was another diary.
Oh, okay.
And there was a spell on it.
Oh,
But you weren't meant to use a spell in this because casting magic in Call of Cthulhu is disastrous to the user.
Gotcha.
It's not meant to be.
One thing I was thinking that would be, I think, beneficial for this kind of adventure is the motivations that we have for, because like Gerald's motivation was to understand this society and get information. He had a driving goal and investment to get into that. My character, I think one of the weaknesses on my design of my character is I didn't have strong motivations to want to succeed in going further once we got to a certain point. And I think I got hung up on that. And that's something that in the future, when I make a new character or a character for something like this, motivation's really strong and really like what can drive the story. And I think I'm just thinking like that's something that I could do a little differently in the future when I build a character to give the game master more hooks that they can pull me in Hellraiser. You get those hooks.
Your initial encounter with the entity, the ghostly apparition, that's what I played on and wanted to bring it up. And that was basically like a beacon that you could recognize this. And I was taking that you wanted to rid yourself of this.
Yeah.
As your motivation.
Well, my character didn't like being around that, didn't like being reminded of it. And so in my mind, I'm like, the heroic thing to do would be to push through, to know that if you can save someone else from the thing that's haunting you, maybe you'd rid yourself of the curse. That's what the lighter fluid was going to be for. You light the house on fire, no one else goes in there. The problem goes away.
But if you watch any attempt to destroy the house, burn it down, get you arrested, and actually the house doesn't burn down.
Jeez.
So you try it and the flames go out, but you end up getting arrested. And if you abandon the house, Mr. Knott will always go and stay overnight.
Oh,
so if you just go,
no matter what,
I'm done.
Mr. Knott's dead.
Yeah, that's basically what happens. Obviously, you had Ian O'Malley as well. He was like a backup character that if you needed help, he was like the person you went back to, but you didn't actually. What was good about your investigation is that you didn't actually need to go to Ian O'Malley to get answers or to find out what to do next. You actually used the investigative tools and played it through yourselves very well. So really pleased with that.
Nice.
But he was there as I'm completely stuck as to what to do. We'll go back to the office. And that was kind of your rallying point. Just if you needed a bit of help, but you didn't. You played wonderfully.
Oh, it was fun. I mean, I'd definitely like to try it again in the future. I mean, I read the starter set, which gives you the rules. And so I have a basic understanding now of the rules, which I didn't have last time we played.
And the starter set doesn't have the second part, the attributes. It's just the quick rules. It just gives you the basics.
Right.
Like the first 8 characteristics, and then it doesn't give you the rest.
Yeah.
And this thing, I've started reading through this. This is a beast of a book. Like I've got post-it notes and everything else, but this is a beast of a book.
Oh, that's the main manual?
Not just full of, that's the full compendium. It's...
Jeez. The Keeper's Rulebook.
It's, I want to get the Investigator's Rulebook as well. There's the same sort of thickness. So there's a lot to get into, and you can get really technical, but that's not the important thing. The important thing is the role-playing and enjoyment.
Yeah.
As opposed to the rules are useful. Didn't really do opposed rules. That would have been your first opportunity with a knife, but unfortunately, bad dice roll. Yeah. They're already picking up an injury from.
But it's a good end to this adventure, also. So
yeah, it worked.
Nice
and I think that's what people get hung up on as well with this. It's about winning.
Right.
And I've talked about this before, obviously, during my unboxing videos. Don't get caught up with winning with this. I think it's the same as any role-playing game. Like even other systems, people that get caught up with thinking of snakes and ladders and it's the first past the post. That's not what it's about. It's about the cooperative ability, and there's this whole debate about, and I'm sure you've heard this. This is what my character would do, and yes, you can play a character that has detrimental characteristics that can work against the plot. But if you completely 100% go with that, then you're working against the party, and you're not a good team member. And I think you both played with your antagonistic characteristics very well and actually brought it into the plot. And that was a really good thing to see. So I didn't feel like anybody was just being that guy, if that makes sense, or just being an antagonistic character for the sake of it. Your characters had flaws and strengths, and it was played out lovely. And like I said, we've had 3 sessions. Obviously, the first session was the creation of the characters, but last session was like full blown. Like there's plenty going on in there.
Yeah.
And this could have, you could have went on a few tangents, but everything led back to the Corbett house at the end of the day. It's cool. But for a one-shot adventure, like we really opened up a few doors here, and it was cool.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. Thanks for running it.
Yeah, thank you. That was actually fun. I had a good time with it. It's just I guess the thing about this system, the thing I guess I would probably get my head got wrapped around, or having a hard time wrapping my head around, is the mythos, the mythos points, and the way that sanity works is a little confusing to me still.
Right. So with the more Cthulhu mythos points you build, that takes off your sanity. So if you have 50 sanity and you have 12 mythos points, you take the 12 off the 50, you end up with 38. It's just the more you know about this world, the more you slowly get. So this isn't designed for like multiple, like a character can't go multiple campaigns, because in the end, it's going to get you.
Yeah, you're going to.
The more you delve into this world, the more you know about it, the more likely you're going to become insane.
Unless you're
that's
Kate
where your
Withrow,
intelligence. Sorry.
Unless you're Kate Withrow from the board game, who doesn't believe in anything, and so I don't believe in this, so it doesn't exist. You play that.
My next character.
That could be a form of insanity as well. But that's the point. The minute she fails, she does believe, and then is hit with the full horror of believing and understanding.
Cool.
So every time you feel intelligence, and if you add, the more you learn in other skills, academic, that's your buffer. But you can only roll them dice. The more encounters you have, the more you roll them dice. And as you know, you're only one dice roll away. And then the whole point is, the minute you lose, and that was a mistake I made last time, she rolled a D10 or a D8 instead of a D4 for your sanity, because the minute you lose 5 sanity in a one go, that's where you go onto the table and become temporarily insane.
Right, yeah.
And that's where that chart comes in. But then again, it depends on the encounter too, because if you come across a body, but you've seen bodies before, you're not gonna be that phased. But if you come across a basement filled with bodies to the rafters, you're rolling for that. And it's obviously it's open to interpretation. And I'm still figuring it out myself. It's still quite complex, but it's up to your it's my responsibility as a keeper not to get bogged down in the rules and to stop gameplay. That's the worst thing.
Yeah.
It's okay, quick stop. Okay, we'll do this. But if we're having to stop for like 10-20 minutes to figure out a rule, we've lost the game.
Yeah.
And that's not the intention. And sure, it's the same in other systems. Like when you're running a D&D game or a Dragonlance game, you're of the same mind, aren't you?
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. Sometimes it just depends on what I'm trying to accomplish. Am I trying to complete a story, like a story trope is important, or is something that I'm trying to do is to get the players to come together? It's like, what am I trying to do? So sometimes the rules are important, sometimes the role playing is important, but like I always say, the rule system's not important if it's messing with fun. So that's the way I look at it.
There's a whole chapter in the rulebook about what to do if a player decides to go back to their hotel room and drink while their partner is getting murdered with floating knife. You see, because I'm not under OGL 1.1 for D&D, I can actually write that and publish it because it's Call of Cthulhu. In fact, we were just talking at the start about the whole OGL thing before we went live. Chaosium actually made a statement about we're not them guys, come to us.
Nah.
And every other role playing system is going, here, we're not them guys, come to us.
Yeah.
We'll let you write stuff. So yeah, that's actually a good point about that. That might necessarily, you're not writing the core rules or passing it off, but you can write something. And this is where the third party thing, and publish something based off the core rules.
Right.
And make it your own adventure or a compendium, and that's perfectly fine, just as long as you give credit to where you got it from. I think I would need to read it up fully if I was planning to do it, or anybody. But that's what the whole discussion is at the moment.
Yeah.
But hey, let's not get involved in that. That's
Yeah, I don't want to get bogged down in that.
Yeah, that's where people start falling out with each other and going absolutely mental. And I'm in this camp, so I'm righteous, but I'm in this camp and I'm righteous. Yeah, okay then. Yeah, calm down.
I just think, honestly, can't we all get along and play games? Because who cares about politics? It's about fun. It's not about who's right. Just have fun.
Dude, you know what role
Whatever
players are
system you
like.
choose.
You know what role players are like. Come on. We've been there when somebody's thrown that hissy fit. Friggin'
Well, like, you know what's funny?
Dyson miniatures
store.
going across the board.
Well, I went to the game store and while I was there during a lunch break one time, and I was just looking at stuff, and these two guys walk up going, "Hey, do you guys have Pathfinder, the new second edition Pathfinder rulebook?" And the store owner says, "No, we're completely sold out, and I've got back orders now because everyone's going all crazy about this OGL thing." And I'm like, awesome for Pathfinder. I mean, I really don't think it matters. It's just like, if everyone's going to jump ship to another role-playing system because someone says something that's not popular or does something not popular, fine. Great. I personally think go back to old systems that have not been published for a while or out of print. I love White Wolf, old World of Darkness systems. I love old D&D systems. I love, like playing Saga with Adam. That was a lot of fun. I mean, we all did that, and that was
absolutely
that's a system.
Blast.
Go back and play something completely different. It doesn't matter. Just play something and everyone have fun. Who cares?
I have a funny feeling that people, like the internet is, I think a lot of people causing the shit are the ones that don't actually play. There are people, Facebook's the worst for it. People join these groups just to stir shit, and they've probably never picked up a book in their life or rolled a set of dice. They've never done it. And they're the ones that are most vocal, and they just read the clip, the headlines or the clips, or they watch a few videos just to get the gist. And I think these same people do it for everything. And they're argumentative just for the sake of being argumentative, and just
there's definitely people like that.
Yeah, and they live for it. Unfortunately, what social media has done is given these people a home where they can roam and invade. It's the equivalent of somebody just turning up at your games club, coming in, starting a load of shit, and walking off and going to the next games club. Obviously, in the real world, that's easier to track because they become known. But on the internet, that obviously you can change your avatar, you can change your profile, and you can join these groups. And it's harder because there's more people involved. It's harder to get caught, so they can do it for longer. And I think there's people who live their entire lives doing that.
Yeah.
Which is, it's not a way to live. You're not living a life. People who tend to play these games do it for the joy. And I just remember back, it was the late 90s when I had my games club and we played every week. And honestly, we were all weirdos, we're all nerds. We're all nobody gave a shit who anybody was or what their politics were, what they like this or like that. It's all about how you interacted with each other. And people that ruined that vibe, like we had this one particular individual, and he was that guy. He had to win.
Yeah.
And if you're a newbie, say Vampire was the worst, it brought the worst of this out in people. But he had to have this special item that made him immune to everything. And it never actually existed. Eventually, when you start reading back the rules, but this is after the session, that's not right. But they would bully the GM into doing it. Because they knew it wasn't worth them throwing a hissy fit, and then when they were GM and they had to win, so they had to beat the party. And I was like, we eventually set off a side group and just refused to play him. Then he threw a hissy fit there, just that sort of person.
Yeah,
and I just think that social media, you have that sort of person now found a home, and people don't maybe realize what they're dealing with until it's too late. They've started the drama. They've got people falling out, and nobody's really understood where it's come from. and then that person sidled off to the next group to do the same thing.
Yeah, I just stay away from all that stuff.
Yeah, it's seems like I just took an interest, and I remember showing you some articles because, like, here, is this going to affect you because you create content?
Yeah.
Based on it, was that going to maybe affect you?
No.
Didn't. Cool. But if it was something you need to be aware of,
Yeah.
Even at least you're forewarned.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely not worth falling out. And plus, if you've already bought something, nothing's stopping you playing it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's I don't understand the do not play. It's like you've already bought it, so you've done the damage, so to speak. So
Yeah.
get your money's worth. And like I said, there's nothing wrong. Even now, never mind the whole controversy in that, but there's nothing wrong with you picking up 3rd edition of something or 2nd edition and giving it a play. It's the same
Or
with
4th edition.
Yeah, I wasn't going to go there, but yeah, fine, you do. All
That's
of a
what
sudden,
I'm running
100 people
tonight.
come into the comments.
4th edition.
It's alive. It's alive.
Only at my house.
Yeah.
Oh man. But once again, guys, thank you very much for taking part in this. Hopefully, we'll get another game before too long. And yeah, we'll just have more madness and we'll encounter more things. And as I get a bit more au fait with the rules and the mechanics, and more experiences, obviously we could throw more in there. But all in all, I'm very happy. I'm glad you've had a good time.
Yeah.
Thanks to everybody that was watching, obviously across YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And thanks everyone, especially Chris, for the comments. Chris, you're an absolute legend. You're on my channel quite a bit, and you're always there, and it's great to have you. And once again, to you guys, thanks again. So, obviously, we're going to do lots more of this with plenty more content on the channel. It's a busy place over here. I'm on with Cameron tomorrow, and we're going to talk about the Terrifier series. And obviously, we'll have our horrific tales and everything else going on. I'm sure we'll unbox more nerdy stuff as well. That's a must. So there you go. Keep up with the channel, do the typey clicky things, and until next time, keep it creepy, keep it horrific.